Greetings and salutations, JC here with a screencast video, and it is about audio. We're going to be talking about the Audio-Technica AT3482P cartridge, which just might be the perfect cartridge for playing back 45 RPM records. And we're talking about 7-inch singles, of course, and we'll get into why it might be the perfect cartridge for that purpose in just a moment or two. Now, this is a lower-end Audio-Technica cartridge. And the price here at Needle Doctor is $29. And although I love you guys at Needle Doctor, I do have to say that I have seen these cheaper elsewhere. So a quick search will find you, one of these carts. It is a P-mount cartridge, which is designed to go into a T4P tone arm. There are adapters that allow you to put those in half-inch tone arms, as we have discussed before. So if you do want to give this a shot and you have a standard half-inch mount turntable, all you will need is the adapter to do that. If you do buy this cartridge, you do not get any of that hardware. As a matter of fact, the only thing you get is the cartridge in the box. And unlike the higher-end P-mount cartridges from Audio-Technica, where they automatically send you the adapter and the hardware to put it on a half-inch head shell, you don't get it here, which is one of the reasons that the cartridge itself is so inexpensive. Now, what makes this cartridge interesting is right here, and it is this stylus, this cantilever, and the cantilever itself is made of carbon fiber. It does change the sound. It makes the cartridge much less resonant, and I'm assuming that the cantilever itself is going to be stronger over time, which, once again, if you're playing a lot of singles, that means that you're going to be taking your tone arm and dropping it on the record and picking it up more than you would with LPs. So that would be an advantage. Also, the stylus itself is a 0.7 mil stylus, which is what is recommended for playing back stereo and mono 45s. So this is very good. Seems to be a very high quality stylus, and the audio quality in general is very clear. Scrolling down here and taking a look at the specifications, we have a frequency response of 20 to 20,000, 24 dB at 1 kilohertz, and 15 dB of separation at 10 kilohertz. Now, I think that's a bit of a conservative number, because when I plugged this cartridge in, I was coming from a cartridge that has rated stereo separation of 30 dB, and I really and truthfully could not hear that much of a difference. The stereo is definitely acceptable. The output voltage is a little bit higher than what you would get from the 92 ECD as well. It is 5 millivolts here instead of the 3.5, which comes from the 92 ECD. And everything else is pretty much basically, there, what you'd want. So if you did want to try this on a half-inch, if you've already, maybe picked up a 92 ECD or a 311P or any of the higher-end cartridges, or even a Shure M92E, you're going to already have the hardware to mount it. However, getting that hardware to mount it, you can get it here from the Needle Doctor site, and it's less than $5. And all you're looking for is a P-mount to half-inch adapter. Pretty common stuff. All of the big cartridge manufacturers make them: Ortofon, Audio-Technica, Shure, and they're all pretty much equally. The quality is pretty much equal. So just talking about the overall sound of this card, I was very impressed because it is very clean, and the stylus itself, being made of carbon fiber, tends to have, I can hear less resonance. For instance, if you're listening to a record that has some damage, and let's say it has a big pop or a click, it doesn't. The pop and click doesn't tend to ring. It tends to come by and then it's gone. And you can definitely also tell a difference in the very low end. The bass is extremely clean and accurate, and is very no mud to it at all. It is exactly what's put in those grooves, and I really think that it's that carbon fiber stylus. Now, once again, the reason why this is perfect for 45s, if you have a large collection of singles, many of them are going to be made out of polystyrene. The ones that are made out of vinyl, you can play with any stylus that you would play an LP with and not have a problem. You start getting into a problem when you start playing back polystyrene 45s, which were made all the way from the 50s up until the early 90s. Polystyrene simply does not put up with as much abuse as vinyl can handle. And an elliptical stylus, as we've discussed in other videos, is a little bit harder on your records. You're going to get a little bit more wear. And so this cartridge, let's say with a 0.7 mil conical tracking at 0.7 or tracking at 1 1/4, 1.25 grams, is going to do minimal damage to your records, whereas the same elliptical stylus, especially on polystyrene, is going to accelerate record wear just a bit. Now, if you're dealing with playing mostly vinyl, this is not something to worry about, but if you're going to be playing 45s, it's something you have to think about. All right, there's another thing about this particular cartridge that you have to keep in mind, and that is that once this stylus wears out, which will happen after about 1,000 hours of use, you're going to have to replace it. You are either going to have to buy an entire cartridge to get this carbon fiber cantilever and stylus that you've probably come to know and love, or you're going to have to change stylus types altogether and get an Audio-Technica 3482C here, which would be the closest replacement stylus. Audio-Technica has many carts in this body style that they have on the market and have had on the market for many years. And they've decided that as far as replacement styli is concerned, they're only going to offer 3. You have a conical, you have a mild elliptical, which is a 0.7 by 0.4, and that's the BE here. And then there is a little bit of a sharper elliptical, which is the standard stylus that comes on the 92 ECD and the 311P, and that is a 0.3 by 0.7 mil. So here are your choices, and this is what you got if you have these cartridges. Now, the 3472C, hold on, I'm trying to scroll this so you can see it. Okay, there we go. The 3472C is a very good sounding stylus, and I actually use this on my 311P and my 92 ECD in lieu of the 0.3 by 0.7 SE stylus. I don't use that one. I use this because, of course, as I have stated before, I prefer to play back records with the conical tip stylus because of the wear issues, and you get a little bit less distortion, especially when playing records that have a bit of wear on it. And my record collection right now is definitely heading toward being more 45s than LPs. So I'm looking at these kinds of cartridges. So overall, this is a really interesting cartridge to have. And we were talking about choosing a replacement here, a replacement stylus, which is fine. You could do that, or you can just buy a new one of these at this price. The only thing that we don't know is how long they're going to be offered on the market. This is a very low end as far as the Audio-Technica line is concerned cartridge, and but there seems to be a ton of them out there. You could probably buy 2 or 3 and not have a problem. It would be about a year before you would wear out the stylus and need another one. I would assume that they would still be available at that time. And of course, any further out than a year, especially in the ever-changing world of audio and phonographic equipment, you'd probably be looking at something else anyway. So there you go, a quick review of this particular card, the Audio-Technica AT3482P. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Talk to you again later.